Hi, I'm Heath with Titan Machinery. Been a service tech here for just about 19 years. Today we're going to be going over the 8240 Combine. We're going to get started here on the monitor portion of it. So the software updates, to check what version software you have, just hit back and then hit diagnostics and then your version tab. This will be everything that is in your monitor. The main one you're concerned about is the first number, that version 30. That's going to be your major updates. And then on the CAN tab is actually going to be the rest of the software that is in all the other controllers in the machine. When they keep changing stuff on there, they do advancements, they fix issues that they've had in the past. So I usually try and recommend guys keep the software updated as possible. If you update one thing, you have to actually update all the controllers in the machine to get everything to where it's compatible with each other and to where everything works to the best that it can. Another kind of important thing is to go in and clear out last year's data. If you don't clear out last year's stuff, a lot of times your coverage map will kind of overlap each other. So if you go out and combine the field that you did last year, sometimes you're not going to be able to record the data that was taken on that field because it's going off of last year's data too. So to do that, every year I tell guys, pull out your data card out of the side, take it to your home computer, put it into your SMS software, just get your yield maps and all your data off the card, and then start fresh every season with it. So to check your auto steer to make sure that's all going to work before you get to the field, hit your back tab, your calibration tab, and then hit your nav tab. So make sure you have a vehicle model in here, make sure your stored name is in here. If you do not have either one of these, your auto steer will not work. So it has to be populated with the vehicle model and the stored name. So to see what your calibrations are, hit view, and there should be a number in here. If this is all the zeros, it's not, the machine has not been calibrated or has lost its calibration. So if you hit done and then come up here, it'll tell you when your calibrations were done on the machine. And then actually engage your auto steer, make sure it holds a line. So you engage it on a line, drive down, turn around, come back in the same line. Your tires should line up with each other when you turn around and come back. You want to get that so you get a nice straight roll angle, because otherwise you go across the field, if you're off an inch or two, not a huge deal that you're going to think, but all of a sudden you get across the field and you're off 2-3 feet. For your yield monitor, your yield and moisture sensor, that's one thing to calibrate every year, and then calibrate it for each crop that you're doing too. The first thing you want to do is do your moisture calibration. So you can either hit wizard and that'll walk you through how to do it, and it's going to be the exact same as the advanced, or you can hit the advanced and then it'll just tell you to put in the numbers. The fast calibration, I do not recommend that guys do that. If you want any accurate yield and moisture data, the fast calibration will not give you that. So before you do your moisture calibration, you have to make sure your moisture sensor is actually capable of working. There's a bypass motor down on the inside of the elevator. There's going to be a 5 amp fuse down there. Make sure that fuse is not blown, that your bypass motor will clean itself out. So one quick way you can check that, if you have this, comes up here, manual moisture, that is telling you that your moisture sensor is clean and should be capable of working. If it does not say manual moisture down here with the machine not running, most likely that fuse is blown and that bypass motor is full of last year's grain. So go back to inside of the elevator, pull the fuse out, clean out your moisture sensor, just pull the auger out of there, clean last year's grain out of there, or even this year's. If you get into some wet grain, it'll pop that fuse down there. There is a 5 amp fuse down there. Put a 5 amp back in it. If you put a 10 amp in it, it'll blow the one up here in the cab, and you'll lose quite a bit more stuff than just your moisture sensor. And then after you get your moisture sensor calibrated, then you can go in and hit your yield tab, and you have the same thing. You have the wizard and the advanced. There again, do not use the fast calibration on the yield either. Up at the top of the elevator head, you have the yield sensor up there. Make sure that that's not all wore in. There's a couple screws that go in there. If you can start feeling them screws that are getting cut at an angle, that that yield sensor is actually wore to where you're not going to get accurate data anymore. With your yield also, do 3 calibrations. If you do one, you're not going to get real accurate. You do the second, it's going to get more. You do the third, your accuracy is just going to be that much better. This machine doesn't have it, but with the automation, the HarvestCommand system, right up in the console here, there will be a switch that'll have a picture of a combine on it, and it'll, I believe it says A on it. So then you'll hit that, and then your actual machine will go into the automation mode. The first thing you have to do for that is you actually have to go through and set the machine so that has a baseline to go off of. So if you initially go in there and you're throwing everything out the back and you go and hit that automation, it's gonna help it, but if you want to get the most out of it, try and get the machine set fairly close before you start running with your automation. It's just going to be that much better, because it will react to varying conditions in the field as you're going.